Hey crafty friends, this is Lisa from Needle on the Run. Thanks for joining me today for a quick 30-minute craft. So this is part of the National Craft Month that my craft source is doing. It's 30 days of crafting. There's a project each day. If you choose to do it, you can do them all. You can hit or miss. You can mix them up. They're not real picky. But if you choose to do your craft, make sure that you post that to social media and you hashtag MCS Challenge. That way you can be entered into a drawing each day for a coupon code that you can shop with on my craft source site. So make sure you jump in if you want to do that. But today our craft is going to be day 3's craft. So yesterday I posted a video with my bleached shirts. I flip-flopped these two, so today we're going to do the 30-minute craft, and we are going to create this SVG on the StarCraft Create software, and then we are going to cut that out of HTV and apply that to a shirt. So let's get started. I am going to first, oh boy, delete that image, and we're going to recreate it, no problem. So first off, we're going to go up here to our library and we're going to grab a basic shape. We want that circle that was up there. And I don't want it to be this size. I want it to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to come over to this menu. And I'm going to make that circle 5 inches in diameter. Now notice I'm going to keep my proportions checked because I want it to be a perfectly round circle. I don't want it to be an oval. I'm just going to hit enter, and here is our circle. I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this. Keep in mind this is going to be an HTV project, so you don't really have to change the color, but it does give you a better idea of what your design will look like in the actual color that you want it. So I'm just going to select that paint palette. I'm going to change this to green as well, so we've got the inside and the outside that is green. So we're just going to move that over to the side for just a minute. We need to work on those words. So we're going to come over to text. So we click our text and then click anywhere on your screen or on your grid and you type in your text. And notice that it's already green. We selected that. That was the last color that we selected. And these are our words. Now, I don't want my words on my image to be straight, so we're going to make them in the shape of a circle, or we're going to make them fit our circle. So we need to come back up here, grab our selection tool. I'm going to pull that in just a little bit. I'm going to pull charm down here, and I'm going to pull lucky, oops, up to the top. Now, one thing I will mention, if you want to change your font, you need to do it before you edit your words. So if you wanted to change this to a different font, you would need to highlight that word, come over to text. You can pick any font you want from your drop down here and just hit enter or click it and it will change your font. For me, this is the font that I want. So I'm going to leave it that way, but it will not let you do that after you've edited the word. Trust me on that. I learned the hard way. All right, so we want to select lucky, and we also want to select our circle. So we've got lucky and our circle, and we're going to come up here to effects, and we want to drop down to object on path. Click there, and I want to preview that. I want to see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to click this auto preview, and there it is. Now it looks like this because our circle is the same color, so our words are actually down in our circle, but I don't want it over on the side. I want it centered. So we're going to come up here in our object path menu and click start offset, the up arrow, and I'm just going to hold that down and it's going to move that word around my object. Perfect. Now I want to be able to read the word, right? So we need to move this up. We don't really want it on the circle. We want it above the circle. So then we'll come to offset and we will click offset and voila, there is our word. Perfect. We click OK. You can move this around if you want to. It looks pretty good to me. You can change the color if you wanted to change the color. I'm going to keep it green. And we're going to move on to charm. So we want charm and our circle. So we're going to hold the shift and click the circle. And then we're going to come up to the very same thing, effects, object on path, and then we're going to preview it first. That's not exactly where we want it, is it? So let's use our arrow keys. We're going to hold down. It's going to bring it all the way around. Or how about this? That helps us see it a little bit better, doesn't it? So we want that on the bottom, and we want it to be similar to Lucky. We don't really want it to be on our circle. We want it to be a little bit away from our circle. So we just do the down arrow for that. And then you can just play with it, move it around as much or as little as you need to get it where you like it, and that looks okay to me. So I'm going to click OK. There we go. Now we have one thing left, and that is our shamrock. If you recall, we had a shamrock in the middle of this circle. So we're going to go back up to our library. We're going to come down to spring. These are all built-in graphics. We're going to click here, and then we're going to drag this in here. You'll be able to see it because it's a different color green. But we want to make that a little bit bigger, and you can do that in two ways. You can hold the shift and your left mouse or left click and pull out. That will keep all your proportions the same. That's important. Or you can go over and click the second button, which is your position and size, and then you can change it here. So I'm going to make it 8.0. I'm going to keep proportions. This is important. We want it to look proportionate, and I'm going to hit enter. I think that's too big. What do you think? So we're going to go back and click 3. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And so you can move that around anywhere you want to. I do want to turn mine a little bit like that. And you can use your arrow keys to really get precise movements if your hand isn't quite so steady. Mine isn't sometimes, so I like to use those arrow keys. All right, so when you get that where you want it, then you're going to click your shamrock, and you're going to come outside, you're going to hold your shift, you're going to click your circle, so you have them both highlighted. Then you're going to come up to path, and we want to subtract or take away the front from the back. So we want to cut out that shamrock from that circle. So we're going to click back minus front, and there we have it. Now you can grab all of them, and then you can right click and group. That way your image is all together. You can see now. And I want to make that fit my shirt. And so this is where my 8 inches comes into play. So I'm going to put 8.0 here, and I'm going to keep the proportions checked. That's very important. And I'm going to hit enter. And so now we have a design for our shirt that is 8 inches by about 11.25 tall, which I think will fit my shirt perfectly. So the next step then is to send that to our Solo, cut that from the HTV, and apply it to our shirt. So let's do that now. Okay, so here we are at the Solo, and I always do a test cut before I cut. So I'm going to pull my blade over, and I'm going to pull my HTV back. I'm going to do matless cutting, and I'm going to do a test cut. And I'm going to get a reading tool, and I just want to make sure that it didn't cut through my transfer sheet, but that it did cut my design or my test, and you can barely see it. So I don't think that the pressure is enough. So I'm glad I checked it. I always check it. So I'm going to give it a little bit more force and test. Okay. And so that one I can see and feel, but I want to make sure that I can also pull that up. This is not my favorite weeding tool, but, and so I can pull the square and I can pull the circle, so I know I'm good. So let's put that back in the right place. All right, and then we're going to send our image to the machine to cut. Okay, so we're back at the computer and we're ready to send this to the Solo. So we're going to click Create. And then we want to be sure, so this is our image that's going to cut. We want to be sure that we mirror that image, like so, and then we create. Okay, let me show you one mistake that I made. So matless cutting is great. I love it. It's so easy on the Solo, but you have to be careful because if you have an 11¼ inch design like I did, if you put a 12-inch sheet in there, to get to the 11¼ for it to cut, it comes off the rollers on the Solo. So you want to make sure that you've got a little bit longer piece of heat transfer vinyl or adhesive vinyl, whatever you're cutting on. Just note to self, it's not a big deal, it's okay, it's a learning experience for me. I can still use a lot of the middle of this piece of green heat transfer, but it was just a reminder that if it's not on a mat, that mat holds it down, it can get close to the edges on the mat, but if you're matless, it has a difficult time getting close to the edges without coming off the roller. So this is our design. My heat press, the StarCraft 8-in-1 turquoise heat press, is already heating up to 305 degrees, and we're going to press it for about 15 seconds. And here is the finished shirt. Super easy, 30 minutes, really just an easy project start to finish. If you think you can't create your own SVG, start with something that's simple like this, a simple design, and create your own. It really gives you a lot of flexibility with your projects. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Be sure that you subscribe to my channel. I will try to get more videos out. I'll do a better job than I did last month. But until next time, happy crafting.